Faith is often described as this immense, unstoppable force, the thing that can move mountains. But when we look at today's source material, it's this really fascinating narrative about a man whose whole world just collapses. And it makes you ask, what happens when that kind of absolute faith hits the messy reality of other people?
That's exactly it. That's the core conflict we're diving into today. We've got this single, really powerful story about Lencho. He's a farmer facing total ruin, and he decides to write a letter, not just any letter, a letter addressed quite literally to God.
Right. And what's so interesting about this deep dive is how the source material actually frames this incredible story with something super mundane, like practical details on sending money through the post office using money orders.
Yeah, it puts the divine expectation right up against the nuts and bolts of bureaucracy, mail, currency, forms.
So our mission today is really to unpack that tension.
Exactly. We need to look at Lencho's faith. It's almost unbelievable, totally unwavering, then weighed against this quiet, sincere act of human kindness, and then grapple with the devastating irony that comes out when those two things collide. We're digging for the deeper meaning in this seemingly simple tale.
Okay, let's set the scene then. Lencho's house. It's described as the only one in the whole valley, right? Up on a small hill. And he's looking out over his field, ripe corn, looks like a perfect harvest is coming.
The setting's important. It really emphasizes his isolation, but also how much he's in command of his little world. He's not just some dreamer. The source calls him an ox of a man, really grounded, connected to the earth. He knows his field so well, it suggests he could basically predict the weather just by looking. And all he needed was some rain.
And he actually does predict it, just looks towards the northeast, tells his wife, we're going to get some water. And bam, he's right. During dinner, just like you said, these big drops start falling.
And this is where we get that first big clue about how Lencho thinks. His reaction. It's not just relief. It's immediate, it's excited, and it's transactional. He holds the rain in his hand and says something like, these aren't raindrops, they're new coins.
Yeah. The big drops are 10-cent pieces, the little ones are fives. He instantly connects the rain to money.
It's so telling, isn't it? His first thought isn't, oh good, the crops will survive. It's, we're getting rich. He sees this blessing purely in terms of cash value.
Like wealth is just falling directly from the sky, meant for him.
It really hints at the desperation, maybe, underneath that expectation. He's looking at his field, covered in rain, feeling totally satisfied. But, that doesn't last long.
No, because right then, things take a sudden, sharp, really brutal turn. A strong wind picks up, and the rain gets mixed with something awful. Huge hailstones.
And notice the language shift there. The rain was new coins, potential wealth, right?
Oh.
But the hail, the destructive stuff, it truly did resemble new silver coins. Those coins of hope instantly become these, like, silver coins of ruin. It's such a bitter metaphor hitting you right there.
Yeah, and the source really emphasizes how fast and total the destruction is. The storm's only an hour long, but the ground ends up white, as if covered with salt.
The corn, totally gone. Not a single leaf left on the plants.
Just imagine that feeling. An hour. That's all it took to wipe out a whole year's work. All that hope, all that physical effort.
And Lencho, standing there in that wreck field, he says that just devastating line, a plague of locusts would have left more than this.
Wow. That really puts it in perspective. Locusts, like the biblical plague, even they would have left something. But the hail, nothing.
Total ruin.
Yeah.
Just the awful realization. This year, we will have no corn. They're facing starvation. It's complete despair.
But, and this is the core of the story, that despair is immediately met by his defining trait, his faith. Despite losing everything materially, there's still that one single hope left.
Help from God.
And the reassurance they share is so simple, but so absolute. No one dies of hunger. It's like, okay, starvation isn't the real problem. The problem must be the delivery system for God's help.
Exactly. And this is where Lencho, the physical guy, the ox of a man, has to switch gears. Because as you said, he's not just muscle. Crucially, he knows how to write.
So his connection to the physical world actually lets him sort of engage with the divine in his own way.
He decides to write the letter. The next Sunday, he carries it to town himself, buys a stamp, puts it on, drops in the mailbox. And the address is just, well, it's simple, to God.
And what's he asking for? It's specific, very practical,
Right.
which connects back to that whole money order thing in the source.
Right. He's not asking for, a miracle cure or sudden riches. He asks for 100 pesos.
100 pesos. The exact amount he calculates he needs to buy seeds, feed his family till the next harvest, just the basics to survive. It's not greed. It's like an invoice for survival.
Sent directly to the ultimate authority.
Okay, so the letter's mailed, and now we shift focus from Lencho's isolated hill to the human hubbub of the post office.
Yeah. And some employee, a postman, finds this unique letter.
You can just picture it. He's probably laughing his head off, showing his buddies this letter addressed to God. I mean, who's ever seen that before?
So he takes it to his boss, the postmaster, described as a fat, amiable fellow. And he laughs too at first. It's a natural reaction, right? But then, the source says, he pivots, he gets serious, taps the letter on his desk.
This is a key moment, isn't it? The postmaster doesn't just think it's silly. He feels this profound admiration.
Exactly. He says, what faith? I wish I had the faith of the man who wrote this letter, starting up a correspondence with God. He's genuinely moved.
And his next thought is immediate. He decides he has to answer the letter. Why? In order not to shake the writer's faith in God.
It's quite something. It's not just charity. It's like an act of spiritual preservation. He wants to keep this stranger's absolute belief intact.
But then reality sinks in pretty fast. Answering this letter needs more than just, good intentions and some ink. It needs money.
It needs the actual hard currency Lencho asked for, 100 pesos.
And this is where that practical side of the source becomes relevant again. Post offices, money orders, they were the system for moving money reliably.
Right. So the postmaster is basically trying to replicate a divine guaranteed delivery using the most reliable human system he has.
And he really commits to it. Sticks to his resolution. He starts collecting money.
He asks his employees to chip in,
Yeah.
which, for them was probably a real sacrifice. He gives part of his own salary. He even leans on his friends to contribute to this act of charity.
It wasn't easy. It was a collective effort, a real sacrifice from several people.
And you do have to wonder a little about the motivation, don't you? Is it purely to protect Lencho's faith? Or is there maybe a little bit of human satisfaction in there, too? Like the postmaster wants to be the one facilitating the miracle, proving that people can step up and deliver something that looks like a divine response.
That's a good point. But whatever the mix of motives, their effort, it falls short.
Yeah. The source says it was impossible for him to gather together the 100 pesos. They only managed to scrape together a little more than half.
Which we find out later is 70 pesos.
70. So they put the 70 pesos in an envelope, and to complete the illusion, the letter inside has just one word, a single signature, God.
So the postmaster feels pretty good, right? He's done this good deed, this act of charity, all anonymously, spiritually speaking. The next Sunday, Lencho shows up early, totally confident, expecting his delivery. The postmaster's watching from his office, probably anticipating that feeling of, contentment from seeing his good deed land well.
And here we are. The moment of truth. Lencho gets the envelope, and the source specifically says he showed not the slightest surprise on seeing the money. Such was his confidence.
That detail just sends a chill down your spine, doesn't it? No gratitude, no awe, just validation. He expected it. God was supposed to deliver perfectly.
But that confidence just vanishes the second he counts the cash, replaced by pure fury.
Because in Lencho's rigid world, God couldn't possibly make a mistake. And God certainly wouldn't deny him the full amount he asked for.
So his conclusion is instant. If the money's short, it can't be God's fault. It must be the fault of the people who handled it.
He doesn't question the sender. He questions the delivery guys, immediately goes to the public writing desk, asks for paper and ink, starts writing a second letter, his brow all wrinkled up, putting all his effort into expressing his outrage.
And the postmaster, probably still buzzing from his act of charity, eager to see Lencho's happy reaction, opens that second letter as soon as it's mailed.
And then, boom, the final devastating punchline, the ultimate irony.
The letter says, God, of the money that I asked for, only 70 pesos reach me. Send me the rest since I need it very much. But don't send it to me through the mail because the post office employees are a bunch of crooks. Lencho.
Oh, man. Wow. The very people who sacrificed their own money, who did everything they could just to protect this man's faith.
They're the ones he immediately accuses of being thieves. His pure faith in God directly translates the human limitation, the missing 30 pesos, into human evil.
It's staggering. His faith is so absolute, so black and white. There's just no room for imperfection. If the total isn't right, the blame has to fall on the flawed human messengers.
The very system designed to help him, the post office, becomes the villain in his story.
It's the ultimate clash, isn't it?
It really is. I think the key takeaway is just how overwhelming, almost blinding, that kind of absolute transactional faith can be. Lencho's confidence was so total, he never even considered the source might be human, only that the amount was wrong.
And the hidden cost of that anonymous human charity, it's completely invisible, unrecognizable to the person receiving it.
Exactly. So for you, the listener, who's interested in seeing things from different angles, this story gives you three completely clashing perspectives, doesn't it? You've got Lencho, who sees a partial miracle, but one that was absolutely guaranteed. You've got the postmaster, who sees a successful, deeply satisfying act of human kindness. And then there's us, looking on, seeing the really poignant tragedy of good intentions being so cruelly misunderstood.
It really makes you think.
Hmm.
And here's something to chew on. Since Lencho's confidence was so rock solid, do you think the thought ever crossed his mind, even for a second, that the money might have come from people?
Yeah, and if it did, would that realization have instantly cheapened the gift for him? Does that kind of pure, rigid faith require you to suspect imperfection everywhere else, even in those trying to help, even when they only came up, what, 70%?
Gratitude versus expectation. Definitely something to mull over.
Okay, that's it for this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.